Hey everybody, it's Dr. Serrano here with my beautiful wife Jessica, and today we have a very special show or episode, and it's because I've sprung this upon my wife. I'm going to be interviewing her, and I've prompted her a few maybe topics or questions, but I really haven't told her many of the questions I'm going to be asking, so I'm excited. I know she's
not as much.
But this is the home team. This is when we come together and share with you guys every Monday at 2 p.m. We share with you the physical, mental, and spiritual challenges that we go through in raising a healthy family. So as people come on, go ahead and say hi to us so we know you're there. Tell us if you have any questions for Jessica, ask, because that would be even better than just me asking questions. So let me kind of review where we're at and why this came into my mind. We're coming off from this weekend. We just got back from an event, a Maximized Living event. This is where thousands of other holistic practitioners, chiropractors, doctors, family, and team members come together, and we get doused, I should say, in the principles of holistic living, in the principles of chiropractic. And in going through, I was sitting at the seminar, and you can see just generations of families that have been to these kind of events and seminars before. And I started to wonder to myself, I've been doing this for a good portion of, going to these seminars, a good portion of 14, 16 years. But my wife, she came into this a little bit later, obviously, because she wasn't part of this lifestyle. So with that, that's some of the questions I had for her. We really only have two ways of looking at our health. Number one, it's from a medical perspective, or also called a mechanical perspective, which what the perspective that is, it takes your body and it looks at your body from a very mechanical perspective. Your heart, your lungs, your kidneys, and if any one of those different things goes wrong, then I'm going to look at the heart, the kidneys, the lungs, and
so it's specialized.
Yeah, specialized, very specific to these certain organs, right? On the other side of the coin, you have what's called a vitalistic approach, or it's also called a holistic approach to health. We are also called the chiropractic principled approach to health. So when you're looking at that principle, going from a medical view or mechanistic view to transitioning over to a vitalistic or a more holistic approach to when it comes to health, how has that been for you as a female, now as a mom, now as a wife? What does that transition look like for
We're going to start off with easy questions today. So I think it's a process for sure. It's not something that happens overnight. It's kind of this transition of, you hear a little bit of piece and it causes like a curiosity, and I just wanted to know more and more and more. But at the same time, I think what happened immediately is once I understood the holistic approach, it's like everything kind of fell into line about what I thought about health. And I guess the greatest transition was, before, if we had a headache, it was very much like you treat the headache, or if you had, something going on, you were very specific to what that symptom was. And it wasn't, I never thought my whole body was being influenced. I only thought it was really one piece at a time. So I think the shift was really that my body as a whole was functioning, and that every piece of it worked together, and really understanding the brain connection. And it's kind of ironic because I used to teach this to my 5th graders. We had this whole unit about anatomy, and we talked about the nervous system, and that was always like the most important piece. And we said, like, all healing, functioning, everything was starting into the brain, and I taught them about the spine and how the information traveled down the spinal cord and into your nerves, and we have this whole network, and I was teaching it, but I don't think I ever understood, so that means the brain controls literally everything. So if something is off or not functioning, it always relates back to the brain, and that was pretty huge to have taught the knowledge and then actually apply the knowledge, or two totally different things.
Yeah, and it's funny because I remember before we got married, they do the, what is that called, the teach, where you go in and teach? The teaching or something like that. Teach for America.
No, that's not Teach for America.
Anyways, people from the community go into the classrooms and they take a day and they teach whatever the profession is. And we forgot the name at this point. But I would go into her classroom and I'd bring the nervous system and the brain and the spine, and I'd kind of show that. And I would always ask, You know, what controls everything in our body? And every single child can answer that. What we never make the connection is exactly what you just said. It's how do you take that information, it's good information, right? And now start applying it to our health. So I wrote down a couple of questions, so I gotta look here. Hey, I'm not cheating. So why are you so passionate about this now, about health, about the way we run our lives and the way we run our family's life? What makes you so passionate about it?
I think, at least for me, my personality was very much fear-driven. Like I've always, I think, made a lot of my decisions in life based on fear. And one of them was this worry, and especially with cancer and things like that, like growing up, like, well, I guess someday I'm going to get sick and I'm just another statistic and I need to worry about it and I'm just going to know that it's going to happen. I'm going to have to deal with that later on. Or never really knowing the cause of something and just kind of going along with culture and searching for these answers and never having this peace or true understanding about my body and its functioning. So I think when I learned the chiropractic principle and just the principle of healing, you don't even have to say chiropractic, this just, anyone can relate to this because it's how your body works. I think that understanding finally gave me a knowledge and not a control over the health, but just knowing that my body was created to heal and I have an immune system and there's all these things already within me, and if I treat them the right way and I don't interfere with that healing, that it happens.
I think she just hit on a point too. I think this is where a lot of moms, and parents in general, moms or dads, come from. They come from a point of fear because we don't know how the body really functions. There's this unknown thing. And, let's talk about vaccines briefly, because vaccines it's one of those things that, as a parent, every parent out there can relate to this. You go into the doctor's office, you take your little one in there, and you know there's something in your gut that doesn't feel right. You just don't feel right, and you do it because it's what you're told to do, and or you are scared that if you don't do that, that your children are going to get sick, right? Some devastating disease that's going to kill them. I mean, that's the fear. That's the fear you're talking about, and we have that with everything, whether it's fevers, whether it's coughs, whether it's you name it out there. That's the fear that parents have, and just like you said, I believe it's because they don't understand the truth. They don't understand that, hey, if you have a fever, your body's doing exactly what it needs to do. It's killing some type of bacteria or virus, and it's working to do that. It's not working against itself. It's working for itself.
And I have to talk about fear too. And sometimes fear, like you can research and you can have all the knowledge and the information, as everybody does, that makes informed decisions. But the other thing too is you really have to see healing happen. And I think sometimes, when we watch the news and we see all these devastating things that happen in our world, I don't know how many times we've seen a healthy child, fight a fever on their own, or heard of some time where, somebody did get the flu and they worked through it in a natural process and it was gone within 3 days. Like, I don't know if we share enough stories about the testimonials and the healings for people. A lot of people out there just don't know that it's possible, or don't know families or kids that have gone through this before. So I think it's important too that we aren't in the healthcare system for a lack of knowledge. Like the knowledge, the research, everything's out there. It's more of just knowing that it can be done and having faith. And the more times I've seen my kids experience sickness and seen them get over it so quickly, I think the more confidence and faith I have in that this really does work.
So I'm interviewing my wife, if some of you have just joined, and what I did was, I didn't tell her the questions I was going to ask her, but I asked our oldest, Adriana, if you had a question for Jessica, right? If you had a question on health, or if you had a question she wanted to ask for people to know, what would this question be? And she said two things. One, she said, why do we get adjusted? So why do we get adjusted?
Okay, answer that one first.
Yeah,
okay, so why do we get adjusted? And we do. I started with a straight neck, so I did have some issues about 6 years ago. I had that corrected, and so now I'm on maintenance, just like some other patients. So we are getting adjusted once a week. It's really funny. We walk into the office, and we always see other people, and they see me doing my exercises. They see the kids scanning their cards and laying on the tables. They're like, what are you doing? You live with this guy. Like, don't you get adjusted at home? And, Raul is in state. He's in a very specific state of mind when he's at the office. He's very intentional with all his adjustments. So yes, I pack the kids in the car and we drive to the office to get adjustments. And Adriana, like, why do we do that? Because it's so important that we maintain our spines, that we go and we get adjusted, and the amazing things that happen after adjustment, I mean, it's just crazy. Like, your immune system's boosted. We can just make sure that we maintain that alignment, especially with my neck. You know, sometimes if I wasn't doing my traction or some of my home care kits at home to maintain that, sometimes it starts to drift back into that position. So it's just super important that we all get our spines adjusted and maintained, once a week.
Awesome.
Our brain, our power has to be on.
That's right. If you guys have any questions, type them in and we'll answer those as well. The second question she
Thanks
said...
Thanks for the encouragement, the thumbs up, the prayers. Appreciate it.
The other question she said is, why is it so important to have a curve in your neck?
The arc of life. So why is it so important? Because your brain communicates down through the spine. To get there, it goes through this very important part here in your spinal cord. And so that arc of life takes the pressure off of the spine and allows your brain's power to flow to all parts of your body. So if you want to be functioning at 100%, if you want your lungs to work, your heart to beat, all of those things, the power has to be on. And being able to communicate to the rest
I'm really
of your
proud
body.
right now. This is not. I mean, this is not prompted at all. So last one, and this is my question. This is not from Adriana. Is why do you love me?
Wow. Why do I love you? Man, I think that's one of those like innate questions. Sometimes I ask myself that question because we're so different. If there's one thing in my life that I can say was purely God, it was Him putting us together. And there's something, my soul was like drawn to you because you are so different. I think you just have this positive hope. You see the potential in all people. And I don't think that was me naturally. I am so fear-based that you kind of opened my eyes to enjoy the world and to know God better. And despite all your flaws, I don't know it. We're going to be forever connected on that.
Well, guys, thank you. I've enjoyed this.
What did that have to do with chiropractic?
Everything. I've enjoyed this. If you guys enjoyed it, give us some thumbs up. Share this. Alex, thank you. We see you there. Ask any questions you have when it comes to growing a healthy family. You know, that we go through the challenges of the spiritual, mental, and physical challenges of growing that healthy family. So if you have any questions, ask those questions in the comments, whether it's here live right now or later on. We'll get to those questions and we'll continue to answer all of those questions or comments. So thank you guys for being on. Anything else?
That's it.
You guys have a great week. We'll be back on next week live at 2 p.m. and
I'll be interviewing Raul.
Oh, really? Okay. Have a good one, guys.
Bye.